This is the adult male of a pair of great horned owls that's been coming to our nest for about 4 or 5 years now. For the last couple of years, we've been really fortunate that especially the male has a tendency to show up in the late afternoon to where we get some really nice video of him and some nice listening in because he's a beautiful animal to just sit out on the deck and listen to. It's a little bit unusual for the female to show up during the daylight, but when she does it on the kind of rare occasions, it's right about at dusk. But here's an occasion when she showed up and actually gave us some video. She's the big one on the right, but she has a higher pitched voice. She looks a little bit distracted, and it's not really clear exactly who she's hooting to. It seems that singing a duet is really just part of the courtship process. This next segment would be hard to hear at a distance, but we see it pretty commonly on the videos. Now, a little change of scenery. We have been lucky enough to discover where this owl roosts, and it happens to be out over our dry creek. He does a big old stretch there. He often does that right before he takes off. He doesn't hoot very much at all from up there, but the flip side is that he never does that big stretch while out on the nest. Well, here's the female back on the nest by herself. The male took off. She occasionally comes in while he's there first, and she'll come in. He's probably flying by there. I suspect that's what she's watching. But she sort of tracks across and suddenly comes across the camera. It's like, hadn't noticed that was there. How about that? It's this big old basketball-sized camera. And she gets a little bit crazy looking here in that she seems to think that maybe there's somebody inside the camera or something. It's not really making any noise or anything, but she seems quite curious about it and gets a bit of a crazy face at times here. And she'll do the sort of swirl the head around. That's a bad example, but kind of move the head around to where she can get a different view of it at a little bit different angle. And we actually see a lot of the other mammals do the same thing, sort of, change the head position and see if they can get a different view on it. And here she's going to, again, sort of look a little bit crazy at it. Those big old yellow eyes, they're just absolutely beautiful. And now we'll pick up the male again here on that same nest. And this was a really kind of a perfect filming day in that the sun was back there on his back and kind of highlighting him a little bit, and we had a little bit of breeze to where you could see that those what look like ears are not ears at all. They're feathers, and they're kind of fluffy and soft, and will get blown around in the breeze. Seems like he might be watching a flyover. So sometimes he'll sit up there and hoot for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours sometimes, trying to beckon the female to come in on the nest, and often it works and sometimes it doesn't. When he is successful at getting the female to join him, they'll occasionally mate up on the nest. And at other times, he'll maybe hand off a rat to her. If you'd like to see some of those other behaviors, take a look at the written description just below this video on YouTube, and we'll put in a link or two that'll help direct you toward some of the others, maybe in a playlist that's on the channel about the great horned owl.